thank you so much. You're back to you live from Kasarani, where the Kenya Film School was conducting their second graduation. And I'm here with the CS. He's going to introduce himself. And I just have a few questions that I want to confirm with him and what he has for these young graduates of today. Karibu sana bwana mheshimiwa.
Asante sana. I'm CS Joe Mucheru.
Okay.
In charge of ICT. Yes.
Okay, I just have a few questions for you today. As the CS for Secretary ICT, as the Cabinet Secretary, sorry, what are you going to do to ensure that today's graduate talents do not go to waste?
So I think the first thing which we saw today is that over 90% of them already have jobs, and the ones who don't have jobs they want to either be directors or are expanding their knowledge, so they're going back to school. So these ones are already doing very well, which is very good for the country. So we don't have to do a lot other than as government ensure we have the right policies in place, that we make sure that we're bringing in more films, we're making the environment better for the filmmakers, and I think we will grow. We saw some very good talent from the young people here.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned earlier that you're working on alleviating the rate of unemployment. What are the tactics that you're going to use, and what would you tell other ministries so that many youths do not go into the job market expecting to get a job only to be disappointed? 10 years in the field, they have nothing totally.
So this is one good example. So because the sector is growing, we had what is called digital migration. Digital migration meant now we can have many more stations, and many more stations means then many more jobs are being created. So what you've seen here is an example that as we expand in our strategies, our policies, more jobs are being created. So the President has rolled out the program on Big Four agenda. So you're going to have housing. We're creating an extra 500,000 homes compared to the existing 40,000 that are produced right now on an annual basis. That's going to create many more jobs. When we talk about food security, we're going to be expanding in terms of agriculture, in terms of the way we do our agricultural production, whether it's now adding value. So in the value adding and the manufacturing, again, all these are to do with jobs. The universal health care, now we're going to have every Kenyan covered. If that is the case, then we're going to need more nurses, we're going to need more doctors. So many more jobs are being created in the policies, and this is a good example that growth is happening.
Okay, thank you so much. I just have one last question for you. You remember the other time when President Uhuru Kenyatta was at some event and he had appointed someone who was, sorry to say, old enough. Then there was outcry from the public that why are we giving chances to the older people, yet there are youths out there who are not employed. Then he mentioned that why give chances to the youths who are corrupt, who don't perform anywhere, yet there are people who are used to money and they can't bring down a whole building in the name of corruption. What do you have to say about that?
What is the actual question? Whether the people should be hired or not hired? I didn't get what your question is. You stated different facts, and I'm not sure that the President would say that youth should not be hired.
Okay,
so we have a lot of youth that have actually been hired, but every job has its own responsibilities, it has its own requirements, and the President is able to choose and say, this is a fund which is going to manage a lot of money for everybody.
Okay.
One of the big challenges we have is corruption. So he wants to give this money to someone where he knows the money will go directly to the people. That's what he said. So he found someone who is not looking for money, is old enough, and is being able to do all these things. Ronnie Osumba and others are managing funds, and they're young people. So it's not that the only Kenyans are the young ones. You pick a job. If somebody is there for defense, you give them a job because they're good in defense. If they're good in technology, you do that. All these young people, look at the talent that they have. I don't expect those older people are going to come and dance the way we have seen. So as a country, we support everybody. And I think the President was clear in saying there's jobs for everybody, but that one specifically, because of the issues of corruption, he wanted to make sure that that money is not going anywhere and he doesn't have to keep checking. that was the reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. May God bless you and your team. Keep working hard to make Kenyans happy. Thank you so much. All right. That was our time for today. We are going back to the studio, and this was Kenya Films School's graduation, their second graduation, where they had 20 graduates, and the CS say that they are working on increasing the number from 20 to 35 in 2020. Thank you so very much. Back to the studio.